Hello, beautiful souls. I hope you're having a wonderful day or night wherever you are at. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 things that are draining your energy, and I'm going to give you ways to reclaim your energy. Before we dive in, I'm so excited that my website is finally created. It'll be linked in the description box below. This is where you can book coaching calls, tarot readings, and any other services. And I have a very special announcement. I am launching my first course to help you unleash your inner goddess, awaken that inner goddess within you. In this course, it's going to be a deep dive into inner work and removing old programmings. If you want more information, it will be linked in the description. By no means is this list the only 5 ways that your energy can be drained. It's just 5 of the biggest ways that I've found. So the first way, and the reason why this is number 1, is because in my opinion, this is like the biggest energy drainer for the majority of people. And that is thinking about a future or past event even when it's no longer relevant and ruminating in it. Because our mind cannot tell the difference between what is happening currently and what is just our imagination, so what is physically happening in our reality and what is simply happening in our mind, our body still has the same reactions to it, which is what makes visualizing and all of those manifestation methods so powerful. At the same time, if throughout your day your mind is constantly thinking about what's next, or the past events that have happened, your body is physically exerting that energy as if those events were happening right now. So the more you think about a future event or a past event, the more energy you send to that event. Let's say this is a future event. Let's say you have a really big project coming up and you've been thinking about it, and so much of your energy has been going to it. So in this present moment, you've been draining your energy because your mind keeps thinking that it's already happened. By the time you get to that project, you no longer have the energy left to deal with it because you've already spent so much of it in your mind thinking you've already dealt with it or thinking that you were dealing with it. Now, not only do you not have the energy for what you're doing in the present moment, you've drained your energy for that future event. And if this deals with something in the past, the same thing. You've drained your energy so much that now you don't have the energy necessary to deal with your whatever it is that you're doing in this present moment and coming up in the future. And this cycle just keeps repeating. It then causes your mind to have this overthinking and overanalyzing pattern going on, where no matter what, you're unable to be present because it's always about something that's going to happen or something that has already happened. And this is something that I struggle with a lot. And even now, it's something that I have to be very mindful of and very aware of, because I can easily get trapped in that cycle of thinking of future tasks or future events or things that are occurring, to the point where even like in my daily life, it could be like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do that, instead of just being present with what it is that I'm doing right now and allowing for that flow to happen. So I found a few things to be really helpful. One, whenever this happens, catching myself. So becoming incredibly aware of my thoughts and catching myself before I allow it to spiral, and bringing myself back to the present moment. telling myself, I will deal with that when it comes up, but right now I'm dealing with this moment, or I'm doing this right now. And I'm never going to get this moment back, so I need to focus my full energy here, right now. That's not to say that you should never focus on or never give attention to the future or the past, but the majority of your attention should be in the present. So when I have this happen to me, I have to remind myself of that. Like, it's not a bad thing to think about the past or the future, because we can learn from the past and we can plan for the future. So if we never pay attention to those two, then we won't be learning from the past and we won't be planning for the future. But if you're never in the present moment, then it doesn't matter how many plans you have for the future or how much you learn from the past, you won't be able to apply it, because it's only in the present moment that we can apply these things. I also love using affirmations, because I feel like when you start to program your mind with affirmations and you keep repeating to yourself affirmations such as, I enjoy being in the present moment, I focus my energy on the present moment, things like that, it starts to train your mind to actually make that a reality. You can create one affirmation that you use every time you find your mind going to the past or the future to help bring you back to the present moment. Again, it could be like, I am embracing this moment right now. I understand that there are things in the future that I'll need to do, and I understand that there's this events or stuff from the past, but right now I'm focusing on the present. Something along those lines. And another thing that could be incredibly helpful is having a physical object, so like a ring, a bracelet, or something like a necklace that when you look at it or when you touch it, it brings you to the present. So in that object, really setting that intention that this is an object to bring me back to the present moment, to ground me in the present moment, and using it for that purpose. Because that way, every time you look at it, it reminds your mind to be like, hey, let's come back to this present moment. So it doesn't matter, even if you're not aware of every single thought that's happening, it helps you start to bring awareness. Am I being in the present moment right now, or is my mind floating in the future or in the past? And the other thing for this too is like doing inner work around the thoughts that keep coming up around the future and the thoughts that keep coming up around the past, because maybe there's something, either fears or doubts or worries or even excitement, that is keeping you in that future or in that past versus allowing you to be here in the present. So figuring out what that is will really help to gain clarity on why your mind keeps wanting to go to these different areas. What I've found is that before, when I was trying to force myself to be present, it didn't work. I felt like I was clashing internally. But once I started to figure out what my mind is trying to show me or what it's trying to direct me towards, like why it keeps wanting to go to the future, I realized there's fears there's all sorts of other things there that I need to work through. And now it's a lot easier to bring myself back in the present moment. So every time I remind myself to come back, I don't feel like I'm clashing internally. It's just like a gentle reminder to bring myself back. The next thing that can significantly drain your energy is overconsumption. This could be food, media, even relaxation and alone time can fall under this category. Anything can fall under overconsumption if, again, you're consuming too much of it. So I like to see it in this way. If you are consuming and consuming, but you're not creating, and you just keep consuming, but nothing, like there's no outlet for that energy, you are over consuming. There has to be a balance. So you consume just enough to give you the energy you need to create. So to use your creative energy, to use your life force energy to create. You do need to consume. I mean, as humans, we need to eat. So we do need to consume other things, whether that's social interaction, consuming downtime, relaxation, whatever that looks like. We do need it to a certain degree. And if you just take food as an example, food fuels us and provides us energy, but eating too much will make us feel down, lazy, sluggish, and then we don't want to do anything. So you want to consume just enough to where you're able to use that energy to create. Put that energy to good use. And oftentimes what I found working with my clients and even in my own life is that the more you consume, if you just keep consuming and then there's no outlet for that energy, your body is going to naturally find an outlet. So this can cause anxiety and other worries to pop up. You know, your energy ends up attracting drama or anything to basically help it to use up that energy. But in this way, it's not being used productively to help you thrive. It's being used in a way to drain you, because its whole purpose is to get rid of that energy, since there's an imbalance. And then sometimes this can also lead to health issues and other things like that, because your body is trying to get rid of this excess energy. And what I've found to work really well when you feel like you've overconsumed, in those moments I find going and creating something to be incredibly helpful. So whether that's working on a hobby, art project of yours, some type of project, something where you're creating either physically or even mentally, something like creating a vision board, creating plans for your future, even creating something as boring as a budget, which is necessary but not as fun as the other stuff. Whatever it looks like for you, creating and putting that energy to good use. It doesn't have to always be this huge thing. It could be something as simple as creating a beautiful meal. Also asking yourself what it is you need in that moment. So why are you over consuming? Is it maybe because there's some underlying hurts there, something you're trying to distract yourself from that you need to resolve and bring awareness to, that's causing you to do this? So figuring out what the underlying cause of this is. Or is it simply that your body has become so burnt out because of the work that you're doing that you need a break? But maybe just laying on the couch all day isn't the break you need. So asking yourself what it is that you actually need in this moment to help you feel aligned and refreshed and rejuvenated, rather than just going to overconsume. The third thing that can drain your energy is constant distractions. This kind of plays off the last point, but in this, even creating can be used as a distraction. So where are you where are you distracting yourself in your life? And figuring out those areas where you see yourself really trying to keep yourself as busy as possible, so you don't have any time to really just be doing like nothing and be present with your thoughts and your mind and just do nothing. How are you keeping yourself from that? What are you using to distract yourself? This could be overworking. This could be even creating. This could be overconsumption. It can look very different, but distracting yourself will drain your energy if you're not spending enough time just being and doing absolutely nothing, because it's in those moments of doing nothing that we start to hear our thoughts more clearly. And the background thoughts that you have are responsible for draining your energy as well, because those things are just going on repeat. If you think about your phone, and if you have all of your apps on in the background, it's going to drain your battery. So it's not until you turn them off that your battery will be able to stay like level or the same. So you know, it's similar to that for us as well, where if we just have all these things going on in the background and we don't take the time to evaluate them, or to just be and just do nothing in order to hear those thoughts, then they're just going to keep slowly draining our energy. And on top of that, because we don't want to hear them, maybe because whatever, you don't want to deal with them, or maybe it feels overwhelming, whatever the situation might be, you're constantly looking to distract yourself. That is also draining your energy. So now it's like double drainage. And as these background thoughts continue to grow and grow, even when you're resting or sleeping, or you know, taking time to do self-care and rest, if you're not addressing those background thoughts, you will have a harder time feeling refreshed and rejuvenated. So no matter what you do, it feels like you're still really tired, and you can get the full 8 hours of sleep, but you're still tired, you're not well rested. It's because even while you're sleeping, your mind is still going with all these different thoughts. And that's why they say for incredibly busy people, meditating is huge and it's very important. It's so you can take that time of doing nothing to evaluate your thoughts and release them. The thoughts that you don't want in the background, release them so they're not draining your energy. I also find that along with meditating, keeping a journal where you can brain dump to be incredibly helpful, because sometimes our minds can be so filled with things we need to do, things that we saw, other situations that come up, and just all these different thoughts going on, that doing a brain dump and journaling all of it out just helps to remove it from your mind and like physically move it out onto the piece of paper where you can look at it and, you know, evaluate it. And sometimes that's all your mind needs. Sometimes all your mind needs is to release it somehow. And I find journaling to be incredibly beneficial for that, but also talking to somebody. So whether that's talking to a friend, talking to a close person, or a therapist or a coach or somebody like that, those things help as well, because you're still moving it out of your mind. It's no longer staying in your mind. But obviously, if it's deeper stuff, you want to make sure you trust that person, whoever it is that you're going to talk to. Otherwise, journaling is, in my opinion, the best way, because you don't have to wait to talk to somebody. You can journal right away, or whenever you have that moment available. The fourth thing that can drain you is listening to other people's problems and life situations and giving advice. Now, that's not to say that you should never listen to another person's problem, that you should never be there for the people you care about. But what this does mean is that if you're already struggling with something of your own, then maybe listening to another person's problems in that moment is not going to be very beneficial for you or for that person, because it's just going to drain your energy, which is already going towards your own issues. And then giving advice too. Sometimes giving advice to people can be really difficult, because you might be giving the best advice, but that person is not actually taking it and applying it, which can then lead you to feeling annoyed or upset that you're giving all this advice and these people aren't taking it, they're not listening to this advice. So if you feel drained and you already have a lot of stuff going on in your life, it may not be the best moment to then listen to another person's problems and try giving them advice. That's not to say, again, like, you should never do it, because obviously in life, when you have close relationships, being able to show up for those people is huge and really important. Just like you would want someone to show up for you, those other people will want you to show up for them. But again, if you're going through something, you're not really going to be able to show up for them in the best way, in a way that's going to help them. Even in the plane, they tell you, if you're traveling with a child or a dependent, to put your mask on first and then put the child's mask on. It's because you won't be able to help that child if you fainted. That's not going to help them. So put your mask on, help yourself, and then help that other person to the best of your ability. Then there are other people who are always complaining, who are always throwing some type of problem onto another person's shoulders. And those people are the ones who you don't want to be around, because they will really drag you down. All that they're looking for is to dump their problems onto everybody else. And they're not actually going to show up for you. They're just going to continue to dump their issues on your shoulders. And you already have your own life and your own things that you're dealing with. You don't need to also be responsible for their life and their situations and problems. So I would say that when it comes to listening to people's issues and giving advice, you should be incredibly picky and choosy with who you're listening to, who you're keeping in your circle, first of all, who you're listening to and who you're giving that energy and advice to. And if you do have people who are always looking to dump their problems on your shoulders, who are only complaining, who whenever you talk to them, you leave feeling incredibly drained, then maybe it's time to slowly remove yourself from those people's circles, or remove them from your circle, rather. Slowly remove them from your circle. That doesn't mean you have to cold turkey cut them out, although if that's what you need to do, then obviously do it. But what that could look like is giving them less time, giving them less attention and less energy, and placing that energy and attention that you otherwise would have gave to them back onto you, or somebody who is actually reciprocating, who isn't just taking and taking from you, but it's like a give and take, a great balance. And the last thing that could be draining your energy is wearing a mask and showing up inauthentically. So showing up out of alignment and wearing a mask. When you have to keep up a facade, it becomes very draining. You're showing up as somebody that you're not, or you're showing up out of alignment with yourself. A great example of this is if you have ever worn makeup for a full day, like full face of makeup as in like foundation and everything, and then you come back home and you clean it off, you feel so free afterwards. And that's what it's like with the mask too. And over time, wearing and upholding that mask will drain your energy so significantly, especially if you're never even taking that mask off. If you never have a moment in your day where you're able to just be yourself and be authentic. So spending time with yourself to figure out who you are and who you are underneath the mask, underneath all these layers of programming that you've had since you were a young child, figuring out those things, doing some deep inner work and inner reflections can help you to remove those masks and understand who you are underneath the mask. Because the mask is serving a purpose. It's sort of helping you navigate yourself in this world, but it's not helping you to thrive. So it still serves a purpose. You're just not thriving in it. And going deep into why those masks are there and what caused you to continue to hold on to these masks will help you to reclaim your energy I also found that giving myself pockets of moments that no matter how uncomfortable it is, I have to show up authentically. This was super powerful when I was just first beginning to understand who I actually was and the programming that I had been living my life under. So this could look like going to a coffee shop and showing up authentically as yourself for those 30 minutes. Going to the store and picking out the clothes that you actually align with. Not the clothes that are on trend, not the clothes that other people are wearing, but the clothes that you actually align with that make you feel your best. Even if you don't buy them, picking them out, trying them on. It could be pockets of moments like that. And gradually, as you become more comfortable with this, it will be easier and easier for you to release the mask. Because again, just saying to drop the mask in the matter of seconds is not going to work. There's a reason that mask exists. So by understanding why it exists, by looking at the underlayer of that and working to gradually release it, will help you to not only release it eventually, but also to be able to embrace your authentic self, not just to run to another mask or to put on another mask. Like, in this way, you'll be in flow rather than trying to force this to happen. And you're not shocking yourself. So because you're allowing it to happen gradually, you're growing along with it and not just shocking yourself into that situation. There are so many more things that can be draining your energy. So if you want to see a part 2, definitely let me know. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a wonderful day or night. I'm sending you lots of love and light, and I'll catch you in another video. Bye!